You know, reading this book, I'm reading it now in our very politically correct culture where if you say anything out of order, you'll be canceled, your life will be ruined. And I think this guy is talking about race and IQ. He's talking about why certain races have done better at different periods of time. He's defending stereotypes in some places, and I think, how does Thomas Sowell get away with it?
Well, it helps that he's black.
It does help that he's black.
It does help that he's black. It also helps that he himself was a child that was raised in poverty.
Yeah.
It helps that he himself was not raised by his mom or his dad, both one of whom died and one of whom gave him up to a great aunt to raise because she could not handle being a single mom of 5 children. And it helps that he got an education, both in a real education in terms of a special admission high school that he attended and ultimately finding his way to Harvard. But in addition, he got an education in the real world. And that's what led him from being a Marxist to being what he would call himself now, which is more of a libertarian and clearly informed by economics. I think what's also important about the book is what he's not saying. And I think that's what lets him say what he's saying.
Right.
You have to be willing to understand what he's not saying is that he's not saying that life is fair. Because if you trip yourself into believing life is fair, you're going to think the things that he's saying are really offensive and horrible. What he's not saying is that what is true for an entire group is necessarily true for every individual in that group. That certain groups lag behind because of their culture and their mindset. Doesn't mean that there aren't individuals within that group that have quality values, that have values of that have a different way of looking at the world and therefore have potential. And he's also not saying that we are purely economic actors, because you can look at it and say, oh gosh, people aren't that focused on economics as to making their decisions. No, that's true. People are not. But it doesn't mean that economics still doesn't play a role in the way that we behave.
That is such a key point.